Hi, everybody.
Sound check. That's right.
Video check, audio check.
Good idea. Put me actually on the video.
Is there anybody out there? They should be hearing something now.
I imagine.
Hello, John. Hello, Lars. Hello, David. If anybody's hearing this or seeing this, let us know, please.
Yep. Sound check. Video check. John says all good. Thank you, John. Oh, well, I hope everyone's having a good time. No good. What's the matter? Lars? No video, no audio.
Hi, Muscle Up. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Chris. I'm planning on calling you in the next couple of days to ask a few questions about some things. Oh,
And just an FYI, my boys will be here in the middle of July, and I will see if they can figure out what's going on with the freaking audio.
anyhow. So, we we had a relatively uneventful week. Um, we only did one thing in the field last week, which was interesting. I'll get into it in a little bit. Weren't able to get the tank full at the ranch because it started raining pretty good quite a while. So that's it. Um, so not a whole lot of mining stuff directly to report. We do have an opening. There's a drilling program going on close by here, and they're looking for someone to basically handle the cores at the drill itself. I don't think there'd be much in the way of logging or anything like that. More like just recording, um, putting them in the boxes, documenting, where each section of core came from, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then I presume it'll be hauled off to the central processing facility for actual analysis. So that's going to be over here near Helena, about 30 miles that way. And so if you know anyone who's moderately qualified and has a good, strong back, uh, let me know and go from there. I talked to Alex. He's got one possibility, and I talked to Rock Butcher, and he didn't know anybody. But I guess the company itself also talked to uh, Montana Tech to see what they've got. We were out there checking out. It's near top of the hill, and there's a whole line of uh, patented claims along a drainage. That it would be extremely easy for us to get to where we want to go if we could just cross private property. So we went out there to talk to people who own the property. I couldn't get a phone number for them, whatever. So we just said, well, we'll just go on out there. And that was kind of what we did this weekend. However, on the way, there was also a claim that Eva had seen on Craigslist. So we decided to take a look at that. And we figured it was a scam claim. Where somebody is taking a claim and then selling it, sort of thing. But it's apparent that it's not a legal claim. If nothing else, the discovery monument there is just a piece of fencing lath. And so we took pictures and stuff, and we'll be forwarding that on to the Bureau of Land Management. The lady we talked to there last week about some other stuff said they were trying to create kind of a database of people who are doing that kind of stuff. Hey, John. So, say it wasn't too hard to figure out that, yeah, there was no notice of location, although somebody had written on the piece of fence lath some information on it. Didn't have anything to do with where the claim was oriented or anything like that. Little one.
No.
Okay, so it doesn't tell you anything like that. And so I say we're planning on sending forward the information to BLM so they can put that in their database and such. When we went up to this claim, they have a small placer mining operation going, and they have a campsite by the main road with a number of travel trailers there. And so, since we couldn't find a phone number for anybody, parked on the main road, left the guns, holsters, things like that, car, walked into camp, and announcing, "Hello, is anyone here?" like that. At each trailer that had a vehicle parked in front of it, we'd knock on it, see if anyone answered. When we finally got up to the other end of, I don't know, there was like 5 or 6 travel trailers up there. There was a trailer with apparently a radio on it. So I knocked on it. Somebody apparently was taking a nap. I apologize for that. And he got up and I said, my name's Keith Bowen. My wife and I do, field exploration work. Gentleman has these unpatented claims around you and such. I need to talk to the person in charge, whoever that would be. He said, well, gave me his name and said he's there on the excavator. So we hiked our butt up the road to the excavator. And yeah, it was kind of weird. There was nobody there. And so we hiked our way up. And once the gentleman working there now, my assumption is that they'd been working, the excavator had been shut off at that time, and I'm guessing the guy was cleaning up. I don't know. But once he saw me, I just stopped. And, he says, "Who are you?" I said, I was told I need to talk to, I gave his name. And so he came to talk to us there. And you'll notice the technique I used. First of all, there was no trespassing sign. Okay.
There was a sign that said 24-hour video.
Yeah, 24-hour video surveillance. Fine with me. We announced ourselves. Didn't want to startle anyone. Didn't have any firearms on us. I got little Miss Innocent looking over here. She doesn't look very intimidating or threatening. And once somebody saw us, we waited for them. We didn't intrude on their privacy. The gentleman was reasonably friendly. Started talking, explained the situation. Now, he seemed to be not averse to the general idea of us crossing the property, but he had been told by his lawyer that if you allow someone to cross your property, that can establish a right of way. And you can't kick them off later or whatever. Now, personally, I think that's kind of silly in that you would write up a contract with a limited right of entry. Seems to me it's pretty easy to establish that you are not giving them a right of way. I don't know if I'm somehow mistaken in that, Chris. But anyhow, so it looks like instead of a nice, easy, flat walk, in order to get to where we need to go, it's going to be a rather long and unpleasant, steep walk. So we shall see what we shall see on that. But anyhow, we talked about the general area, the various ore bodies that, I mean, they've got a patented claim in the middle of a bunch of, a whole string of mines. And so we discussed their mine and stuff, east and west, trying to get more information as to what the actual ore bodies look like that up there. And it's private property, David. This is not public land. This is a patented claim, which is private property.
Yeah.
So yes, he can stop us from crossing the claim. If it was an unpatented claim, then they can stop you if it's going to interfere with the mining operation or there's a safety hazard. I mean, they can under certain limited conditions.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They can also follow you and be very rude.
We're not going to be doing switchbacks. This would be hiking on foot.
He's worried about a prescriptive legal paper to prevent that. Okay.
I understand that, Chris. He didn't seem to be looking for a way to protect himself, except no, you just can't cross a claim.
Yeah, considering what he's gone through with the forest.
Yeah, and I say I can understand that, but say he was very nice and cordial and everything in every other way, so we definitely didn't push the issue. He also told us about another gentleman had a claim about 4 miles away where he'd done a little work. I presume he took his excavator up there, but I don't know. Did he say specific?
I know he didn't. But anyhow, he did say that the attic was.
Yeah, the attic was caved, but he dug some out next to it or whatever, and there was a pretty good vein there. It had pretty good ore. So we can follow that up and see if that gentleman might want to do something with that. And he was also asking about, did we know anyone that was buying any gold? I agree, Chris. I offered him, he's got a historically productive, high grade, about 5 ounces to the ton. Not huge, but productive, like 100 tons at 5 ounces to the ton, mine up on the hill. And so I suggested to him, hey, Red Wing, that if he needed any help looking that over or this or that, I gave him my phone number and such. I asked him if he wanted it. He said yes. So I gave him that. And I'm hoping that as time goes on, we'll have further interactions and things will be getting a little more cordial and whatever.
I just want to get an opportunity to actually look at the site.
Yep. And so we shall see. Now, he was asking about gold buyers. And so my thought is we go to Grizzly Gold here in town, find out what they're paying for placer gold and such, what the conditions are and such. And then next time we're up in that vicinity, we can stop in, we'll have it all written down on something. And then say, you were looking for gold bar. We found, we got some more details about Grizzly and stuff. And here's what it is. And then we can also bring up a few other little questions. One thing I want to get Chris's help with is looking up the name of that gentleman. I have a last name, relatively
Not sure how it's
uncommon,
spelled.
but it's 4 miles away, and this last name and stuff should be able to figure it out pretty easily from the BLM record and go from there. But yeah, it's the sort of thing where uh, we're trying to establish a relationship, and had he said, "Yeah, I'd love to have you go up there and take a look at that, and maybe work out something over there." Is there a typical purity of gold in Montana? I think it's more in terms of the individual deposits. This particular drainage will have this, and that particular drainage will have that, but it can vary substantially. Okay. We've even got some drainages not too far from here that have tin in it, actual metallic tin, native tin. So it can be it's up by Boulder. Yeah.
I wouldn't
So
mind seeing that.
yeah. Anyhow, that's my thought in terms of how you start, how you approach someone. If you can't make a phone call or something like this, which we tried to do, we found the guy's name. It turned out to be the right guy's name. The internet had a phone number for that name in that small town, and I called that phone number a couple of times. And then a lady called me back and said, "This is my phone number. I don't know the person you're trying to get a hold of." So that's why we kind of had to go, in person.
And
And
as to that scammer dude, we've run into him before.
oh yeah, we've run into him before. He's the guy that tried to sell one of our claims. But anyhow, so say I'm not sure if that's the best way to do these sort of things, but I think that's a pretty good way. Say, especially if you got someone like Eva as a prop to take with you, she looks very unthreatening, etc. And so here you have a couple of senior citizens and no weapons, nothing like that. Just hi there, I'd like to talk to whoever's in charge about blah blah blah. I think that's a pretty good neutral, non-threatening approach to start things out. And then you just got to fly by the seat of your pants. um, uh, don't talk politics or anything like that unless they bring it up.
I cannot believe that fence slat. I mean, it literally it was a fence slat. We're talking a fence slat that's got written on it in pen the name of the placer and the dude's phone number.
Yeah, it's like about a 1x4 rough
Paperwork.
cut fence slat. Like, wow, that's not a legal discovery stake in
and I
this
also
state.
found on the phone on the ground that metal federal mining claim sign. I want some of those.
Yeah, there was a federal. You've seen them before, I'm sure, most of you. Those metal signs that federal mining claim, blah blah. So I was like, we took pictures of all that. I'm not sure why it was on the ground. It looked like it had been ripped off a tree or something like that.
Yeah, but I didn't see any sign of it on any of the trees.
Didn't see where it came from. But yeah, we just left it on the ground, took pictures. We'll send that off to BLM. Not real happy with scammers.
I think we need to go talk to our county recorder to find out who we talk to in terms of law enforcement.
That would not be the recorder. That would be the county attorney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to him and see who we talk to about.
So,
because he's asking big money.
Was it 25,000?
24,000 for that one and 20 for the other one.
Yeah. So basically, it's BLM land. There is a creek, significant sized creek there, and just I'd be willing to bet you there are no corner stakes.
What? Yeah, I know. I want to stake a claim on that particular creek.
Yeah,
either just above or just below him on BLM.
We'll see. So, anyhow, that was basically what we do. We're trying to get the agitation tank loaded out at the ranch. Unfortunately, weather kind of interrupted us. We did get the batch that's been sitting there a couple of weeks out and on the pad, and um, it'll be thoroughly drained by the time we get back there. This week, it's also looking very sketchy because we got rain Thursday and Friday. Probably going to be doing some roofing on Wednesday. Corner stakes are not required if it's listed by the subdivisions of the public land survey, huh?
I think in Montana they are.
I
BLM says you need to do it by your state regs, and our state regs, last I checked, say corners.
I'm not sure, Chris. We could ask the BLM, but that's certainly not a legit discovery monument. Discovery monuments.
There's no freaking paperwork.
Got to be a
or anything.
4x4-inch post, and the that monument's not there. There was
well,
no.
that reminds me. I can find out right now if we need corner stakes in Montana.
You look at that?
Yeah. I was just showing the people our book here. In Montana, for a lode mining claim.
No, placer.
Okay, let me find placers then. Placer mining claim. It says boundaries and claim quarters clearly marked within 30 days after posting a notice of location, and must record with the county within 60 days and with BLM within 90 days of location data. And the corner post has to be at least 4 foot high and 4 foot square, or an 8-inch diameter tree, or a boulder at least 3 feet above the ground.
Okay. Boulder or boulder pile?
It says, or a boulder right here.
Okay. Aren't you supposed to have the northeast corner marked and paperwork posted at a minimum? I don't believe in Montana that works.
Well, actually, right here, I do note, it's funny you put it that way specifically, because this shows one of our certificates of location for a placer, and it says beginning at the northeast corner, number 1, which is a 4x4 post, marked gold claim number 1, or whatever, and it says the first course.
Yeah, it's a meets and bounds description.
It's a meets and bounds.
Yeah, but as far as I know, you have to mark the corners and the discovery point. Now, you could combine those in one if it was appropriate, but
yeah, because here it shows Discovery Monument recommended, and in the north, it shows here, northeast corner, King's Head number 1 placer claim, northeast corner of West Hap, northwest quarter, southeast quarter, section 11, township north. It shows the details, the meets and bounds details are listed at the northeast corner on a discovery. So we'd have to find his northeast corner to be sure. But his monument, his discovery monument, is not proper either. PLSS, let me.
I know that the BLM has rules now where they want you to lay it out according to the PLSS, Public Land Survey System. That's, the northeast corner, the southeast quarter of the section whatever. They want you to keep it in those 64th section aliquots, basically.
It says the approximate dimensions or area of the claim, legal description, and direction and distance from a corner of the public land survey to the claim should also be included.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the only reference.
Yeah.
From a corner of the PLS.
Yeah. BLM now too, when you file a claim, they want you to give them a map so that they can plot it in their computer.
Within 90 days after posting notice of location, towards location claim with BLM.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got like 60 days to get it on the ground and record it.
Yeah, so we probably could have recorded after.
Not a big deal.
Well, save money.
Well, it all depends. I mean, basically, you have your section, which is this. And these are further divided. And basically, you want two of these. You know, it could be that way, this way. Theoretically, I think it could be this way. But they want these 1/64, or I think those are 10-acre segments. That's how they want placer claim laid out now. The load claim, you can still do it, however you covers the particular load. Used to be the placer claims, if you had a creek, you could do this sort of thing. Now they don't want you to do that. So,
And I'm looking at the location here, and yeah, it says beginning of the northeast corner. That's on a low.
Yeah. Next one, that would be the placer.
Yeah, here's a placer.
Yeah. But you have to check with your state.
Yeah, our state at the Mines and Minerals people sells this nice handy dandy little brochure for $2 that tells you exactly how to do it in accordance with the state laws.
And the nice thing is, it even has blank forms that you can then copy. But anyhow, so
But that answered that question.
Say, a 1x4 lath is not a legal monument
Of any kind.
in this state. Although the nice thing in this state is you can take a tree over 8 inches in diameter, blaze it on 4 sides, and label it. Put a label on it, and that will do a good
as a
job.
matter of fact, in the paperwork example it showed in there, it said the corner is a 4x4, whatever, or
yeah, you have to describe it in that thing. It says what is the monument. Yeah.
But they both seem to start from the northeast corner. Now, that block-wise.
I don't think it's legislative critical. I think you can start with any corner you want. Perhaps somebody knows different. Yeah, muscle up. 20 acres, and each one of those 1/64 of a 1/8 of a mile one way by 1/8 of a mile the other way. That's a 10-acre plot, or basically 660-foot square. So your placer claim, if you're laying out a rectangle, is going to be 660 by 1320, I believe.
Yep, 660 by 1320.
Yep.
Yep,
trees are subject to lightning strikes, but they're still a legit corner stake. The main thing is when you're climbing up and down steep mountains, it's nice not having to carry a 4x4 post. Now,
well, the interesting part about that is my feet are really good at finding old claim markers. And I found more than a few that were really old trees that went back to the 20s or 30s that were laying down, but by golly, the blaze was still there, and if you took a look on the side on a couple of them, the little thing that had held the paperwork was there.
Yep.
Quarter mile by an eighth of a mile.
Up. So anyhow, I think this guy is just a typical scammer, and he'll go out there and do kind of the minimum. He didn't even do the minimum.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you're going to charge $24,000 damn dollars, you should at least do the minimum.
Especially if it was what, 20 feet from the road?
Yeah.
I mean, basically, the road's right here, right down there is
I'll
the
tell you,
post.
I was rude enough that I'm almost thinking of fucking overstaking him since his claim is not valid to begin with. That's how pissed off I am.
We don't need the legal expenses, you know. But anyhow, I say
I don't like this guy.
he didn't even have the courtesy of bringing a 4x4 with it. I mean, goodness gracious, you know, how hard is that? When I mean, we're driving a minivan, you know, how hard would it be? Whatever vehicle he took up there, I'm sure could have carried a 4x4 just as easily as a piece of lath. I mean, talk about lazy, you know?
I am just praying.
Yep.
He's going to end up with somebody.
Of course he is. Well, we can't solve every injustice on the planet.
No, but we can do what we can. Fofo doesn't get to rip anybody off.
So anyhow, that's kind of what we did this week. I'm not sure what's happened down in Central America. Last I talked to anybody, they were kind of swapping out personnel with who's staying up here, who's going down there.
Oh.
But things seem to be going pretty reasonable on the gravity concentration thing. Yep, I understand, Muscle Up. There's always bad people out there. But so that's about all we accomplished. I spent some time last week designing a tube roaster for sulfides. Plan seems to be pretty, yeah, exactly, lazy as heck. David says, "Bless you, little one."
Thank you.
But it seems to be a pretty simple design to put together. We'll see what's going on. Hey, honey bunny. Hey, honey bunny, have you heard about the rabbit rescue in Britain that ran afoul of the
Dudes in dresses.
the alphabet letter mafia? And when they decided to cause some problems and stuff, then the other people joined in, and now they're doing great. They're getting thousands of dollars in donations and doing fine.
Oh, wow. Well, hopefully it gets better.
That group can be pretty serious. Okay, Resort Dog. He says Nevada state law requires corners. You in Nevada, you able to do like 2x2? Well, I know in Arizona you could do 2x2 at the time I was doing it.
Yeah, honey bunny, it's been really weird, but I'll tell you, the bunnies are now internationally famous. They're getting money from Canada and shit too.
You want to show a picture of the Angora? That was a cute bunny. Hello, Heather. How's it going? So, I say that's not a great deal of progress report. We're waiting for some assays to come back. Yes, you have to. You have to record the paperwork at the county. Oh. And then you got to send copies of that recorded document to BLM. Well, you just muscle up. You just got to get a good, what do they call that? GoFundMe plan or something. Well, they
are really cute ones.
The heart seems to be doing fine. Last week at the cardiac rehab, I really worked hard on the machines and stuff. And so I was working myself pretty hard, and the monitoring and everything showed my heart was doing pretty good. Very little signs of any damage. So that's good.
Oh, and we went to a reptile show, but they didn't have any big lizards. They only had little lizards. They were good-looking lizards. So.
So, anyhow, that's about it. Hopefully, we'll be starting to actually work on that roaster fairly soon.
Well, Resort Dog, they had some beautiful, beautiful snakes and gorgeous lizards. But I wanted a really big lizard, like a monitor or something. They didn't have any real, or an iguana. An iguana would.
They can give you salmonella, man.
But I held quite a few snakes.
You went and told other people snake. So anyhow, that's about it. We didn't really do much in the way of field work this week. Couldn't get much done at the mill this week. Although all the equipment's ready to rock and roll, I still got to get that belt for Bob. And everything else. I say we were just starting to rock and roll with the Stutenroth. Got 200 pounds in the tank, and then it started raining and raining. I look on the satellite and radar, and it's like this is going to be all day.
Yeah, it was.
Me. Well, I think the rodent smell may come from the food for snakes.
I like.
Anyhow, how's everything going? Anyone got any questions or anything like that at this point? Also, the gentleman we were talking to this weekend said that in past years, and I kind of got the impression it was not too long ago, the Forest Service and who else did he say? It was just Forest Service?
MSHA and the DEQ, the
No,
Forest Service.
No, they called MSHA and the
Yeah.
DEQ. But who was it that was actually observing?
Just the Forest Service.
Just the Forest Service was off of their property, taking pictures and stuff, and then referred it to the DEQ and the MSHA. Okay.
Yeah, Forest Service.
Yeah, so that was kind of interesting. In terms of assays, the stuff we took last week is on its way. Haven't gotten any results back. Not surprising at this point.
Solar panels, huh, Kodak? Wow. All kinds of silver. One of these days, I want to run into somebody that's found a good way to recover the silver from dead souls.
Yeah, there's a lot of government abuse been running around for quite a while here.
Yeah.
So, not sure what we're going to do this week. Might be headed back out to the Montana Bee Ridge. Might be doing something else. Wednesday, I got some roofing to do. Once that's done, theoretically, I should be available for the weekend to go out in the field. It's going to be raining Friday. Less than ideal, but hell, we've dealt with that before. I'm just not exactly sure what to do.
Well, I decided what my
Which was what?
Was we need a couple of
Oh yeah.
Of one I dump on the side cross.
He was talking about the photovoltaics.
Yeah. If anybody has a good method for getting the silver, recovering the silver from a dead solar cell, I'd like.
halfway through rebooking up the water and power, rehooking up for the sale. Where are you leaving to? So, anyhow, surprisingly, with all that's going on in the world, the price of gold and silver didn't really fluctuate too much this week.
Oh, silver dropped just a little bit. Gold dropped just a little more.
You know? So that's interesting.
And I once again got hold of. Yeah, move. I'll talk to these people. I'm going to talk to you people. Anyway, go get my little envelope that's right by the chair. This is something that I've talked about occasionally, and a lot of people are still ignoring me, and I just got into a discussion about it again online earlier today. In the precious metal world, in terms of rounds, coins, etc., okay, there are a couple of copper-headed stepchildren in the world of silver. One such a child is 40% Kennedy half dollar. You can very frequently get 40% Kennedy at or near melt value. Okay? Matter of fact, right now I can get 40% Kennedy below melt value. The other thing you can get at or near melt value are these pretty babies. This is the very much maligned Ellis Island silver dollar. For those who don't know the story of this, in 1985, the Mint got this brilliant idea. The centennial anniversary of Lady Liberty was coming up in 1986, and they decided they were going to release with great fanfare a brand new silver dollar, 90%. This silver dollar would become the modern day equivalent of a Morgan. Everybody would want them. They were going to be fantastic. They were going to be wonderful. And on the obverse side, you've got a beautiful picture of Ellis Island, gateway to America, and a beautiful Lady Liberty. Okay. And on the reverse side, you've got the give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, and that's the only part it puts on. And the Mint minted like 5 million of the damn thing. And they rolled them out to great fanfare, and they were utterly and completely ignored. As a matter of fact, people disliked them. So, with their tail between their legs, marketers at the Mint went wandering off. This one is a 1987 200th anniversary of the Constitution. Okay? The goddesses bitch with the Mint. Quite simple. If you go to the U.S. Mint's website right now, they'll say sign up for this great subscription program and you'll get all these beautiful limited edition low mintage commemorative silver dollars for only $80 a piece. Some such. The Mint being even more illegal and extortionate than usual. But the funny thing about these is they're 90% silver. Most of them are very pretty, and a very large number of them made back in the day, other than the Ellis Island, like this one here, only had a mintage of 400,000 total across all products. So if you find one that came in 10 different products, then you got a whole bunch of really low mintage coins running around. And everybody hates them. So you can quite frequently get them at or below spot. At or below melt. I got these. Melt. Spot. I got those little beauties at $25 a piece. This is why it's a good thing to keep an eye on your silver prices and your gold prices. and keep an eye on what is unpopular. Talk to your local coin dealer. Find out what's unpopular. Because right now, if I want to, tomorrow, I can take the money in my purse and I can go down to my local coin shop and I can back up the truck and I can load up 40% Kennedy half dollars and under melt. I can load up. Every time I see these, I can get these at melt or under melt. That drives down the dollar cost average on your stack. And as you may know, recently my stack came in handy. I was able to spend some of it. But anyway, that's all I want to say in that regard. Egg prices are still dropping. Gas prices are holding steady and going up a little. Meat prices are going a little bit higher. So I'm not happy with that. And he's going to come back right now and talk to you guys about mining since you were ignoring me. Bye-bye. They're talking about mines over here. You might want to read the comment. I am very I am very
Okay. Anyhow, hey Brian, how's it going?
Hi, Brian.
Anyhow. I really don't know what else. I mean, we really haven't done that much this week. Been watching the news because it's been kind of dynamic, you know. Gemstones can be a pretty good value if you got the right deposit.
Yeah, I certainly love it. Well, I want to find a good person.
Parification? You mean like benefication? Or what? Okay, Brian, go ahead. Opal comes and goes, yeah. Oh. Well, it's nice to get the quad right up to it. That's really important. Hello, Billy. Did you get much silver with your Eco Gold deck? I would say a reasonable amount because it seemed that the resin was absorbing silver first.
Yeah.
And then it was getting kicked off preferentially for gold. But I don't recall any particular numbers. What did we do in terms of solution assays?
I can tell you this: our electrolytic debris tended to be about 70% gold.
Okay.
When we let it fully run. I believe the highest number I was able to calculate with the information I had was we were absorbing about 20% of the silver that seemed present at Montana. Since we did not get a silver assay, so to speak, on a lot of the stuff at top of the hill, I don't know how much that. Honey Bunny, the best I can figure out is what was happening is it was kicking the silver off cartridge 1 onto cartridge 2, and then off cartridge 2 onto cartridge 3, and I believe the silver ended up in the solution that came out the end, the barren solution. But since we don't have a testing budget, and the claim holder had zero interest in testing for it, I don't know where it went.
Yeah.
Yeah, 70-30 gold, silver, Brian.
How did your acidic leach go, Keith? I presume that meant the proposed possibility of trying an acidic thiourea leach
Haven't tried it
for
yet.
the ore. We haven't really tried that. We have an acid thiourea solution for stripping of the resin.
Yeah, and we were going to try recharging the resin.
Montana B 8020 gold silver.
Yeah, Montana B, the original ore, as best I could determine with data I had, was running what we got from in the leach solution was 20% of the silver that was there.
Yeah, I'm not sure we weren't focusing on that. Can't you test for silver with sodium chloride? I don't know if that will work on the Eco Goldex.
Never saw any signs.
Let's see. Could you give me that file there? One on in that drawer there. One from Central America. I know. I had to fabric cobble something because it wasn't set up properly. Let's see what we got. Because I got some solutions here. Silver, Onslow gold line. Okay, that's got 15 parts per million silver. 12 parts per million silver. Roasted on. Well, the tails are pretty good. Gold, 50% silver. I mean, half of the gold concentration in silver there with the gold X on the tailing. On the concentrates, the roasted cons, it's only about a 20th, as in 5% of the gold concentration. In the cons below gold line that were not roasted, the silver was 3 times the gold. What I could do, take any of these work, I would think. And avoid fail. Okay. Let me get some solution here right quick. I can go ahead and get a sample of solution. Add a little salt.
Well, remember, we did have that interesting issue when I tried to titrate. Remember that? When I tried my titration test, I ended up with silver chloride. So that's a pretty good indicator that there was a lot of silver in the freaking in the whatchamacallit. He'll be right back, guys. He will be right back, guys. Because remember, I had never had that happen before. He's coming. Everybody hold on. they're discussing opals. I want opals.
Well, let's see. Here we have the Eco Goldex solution. And this is light salt. And I do not see any white precipitate.
I'm the only time.
So it appears to me the chlorides will not precipitate the gold out of the Eco Goldex like that. Let's take a little hydrochloric acid and pull the same stunt. See what happens.
He's getting some more stuff, guys.
This is muriatic
Yeah,
acid.
Trump announced the ceasefire, Kodak.
Yep.
And Jeff Bybee wants to know, is the salt radioactive or radon emitter?
I believe it is a little bit of a radon emitter, but I'm not certain.
Yeah, he's got some hydrochloric acid here, folks.
This will also acidify it.
It turned a really weird color.
That's certainly
purple.
Precipitated something out.
It's turning purple.
Well, that might be gold too.
Yeah, well, it may not show on the camera, folks, but that's turned amethyst.
So,
just saying.
Little hydrochloric acid seems to precipitate the heck out of something from the Eco Goldex. That's interesting.
Nice to know.
It might come in handy at some time.
The amethyst pale, but we're getting. He'll be right back. But yeah, there a ceasefire was announced. Yeah, that was an interesting side effect there. Nice to know.
Might be able to acidify your Eco Goldex and precipitate all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, if you want to destroy the Eco.
Yeah, under some conditions that might make sense. Huh. To neutralize Eco Goldex with hydrochloric, huh? Okay. Oh, the purple stuff that blows up Chinese factories? That was nitrogen triiodide. If you want to make some, it's pretty easy to do. Just take iodine crystals and put it in ammonia water. Now, the problem is it's extremely sensitive contact explosive when it's dry. So, well, good, Shane. When you say good-looking gold ore, was that from looking at iron staining or could you actually see some gold in there? What was the
Yeah, we want details.
what was the
Details.
visual indication that was looking so good? You know? But yeah. Nitrogen triiodide is what does that. I've played some games with it. It's so sensitive that when dry, a fly walking on it will set it off.
Which is kind of interesting.
Pretty sensitive stuff.
If you want to blow up flies,
Well, you can do that. If you got a bunch of flies that are annoying you, you take and you make some nitrogen triiodide wet. You just kind of crumble some very sparsely on a sheet of paper, a little bit here, a little granule there like that, and then you put it out there and watch the flies walk around and then get blown to smithereens. Well, so are flies, you know. But yeah, nitrogen triiodide should be made in small quantities because once it dries, it is really sensitive. Oh.
only a Jew would think blowing up innocent flies.
Have you ever had a whole lot of flies pestering you?
Yes, I've worked on farms.
There you go. Looks like it's settling to the bottom.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Don't know what it is. Hey, how do we find out what it is?
You could try that. Yeah. There's not a whole lot there. Can I use it for moose traps? I would recommend not.
Are we talking mooses and the big things with horns? If we are,
Yes.
why would you want to ruin the meat?
Any quantity sufficient to take down a moose is much more than you want to have dry in your vicinity. Trust me.
Something to do with wars and gar. Yeah, we want to know more about your good-looking orc. Yeah, mice maybe, but why would you want to do that to mice?
Yeah. Okay. By the way, you will be able to tell which mouse stepped on it because he's the one that's purple.
Ah, Jimmy Robertson.
Um,
We're not as busy as we'd like, Jimmy. How are you?
yeah, we're not terribly busy at the moment, Jimmy. We're looking to get some stuff going, but right now, not terribly.
Looks like there's a little bit of chocolate pyrite, galena, black and white quartz, iron stain, visible gold plus sulfide. Sounds
Well, the visible gold is always a really good indicator.
Sounds
Shane.
pretty.
Yeah.
Want to see pictures?
Yeah. Either do I, Kodak, but I don't know as I would want to blow up things for that. I don't think it's the better mousetrap. Well, the mice might chew holes in your stuff, but then you'd be blowing holes in your stuff, so, and leaving a beautiful purple stain. Yeah, when nitrogen triiodide goes off, it turns into iodine, and it just stains everything. Pretty bizarre.
That sounds.
Yeah, it is kind of cool. You just have to be really careful because it is so damn sensitive, and it's reasonably powerful. I had, I don't know, about that much, the end of the pen, the purple end of the pen there, in a little plastic 22 box, and I was taking it out to play with it, and I bumped into something and it detonated and tore the CCI mini mag box, blew it up. My mailing address is P.O. Box 1783, Helena, Montana 59624. You want to type it in, little one?
Okay, I'm typing in our address here for anybody that wants to send rocks. Rio.
Anyhow, yeah, that's our mailing address. Had a customer lose power in his office, went to find out why. Mouse got stuck in a hole for Romex wire and chewed through the wire.
Oh,
Cooked
no.
mouse. Yeah, that'll do it.
Oh, man.
Well, don't chew on the wires, damn it. That's the problem. They just chew stuff up. Remember all your yarn that they messed up?
Well,
pack rats?
I still have yarn that I have to wash
Yeah.
to survive.
Nitrogen trichloride, huh? Mickey should have known better. Well, you probably forgot to Google it. Nowadays, the youngsters think they're smart because they have access to information, but they don't seem to understand said he would try calling. No answer? What number did you give him, Jimmy? Yeah, I remember that guy. I'd love to talk to him. If you want, you could, and it would be appropriate, you could email me his number. But yeah, I haven't heard anything from him. I'd be happy to talk to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got.
Because he always answers his phone if it rings.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at answering the phone. No, they had some like 12-year-old or whatever saying how she was smarter than her founding fathers because she's got access to so much more information and this and that and the other. And it's like, well, you're proving the point that they're a lot smarter than you are. Yes, I do, Jimmy. It hasn't changed in years. You can, I mean, it's the one that you've. Oh, here, I'll call you right now, and that way you'll see it.
It hasn't changed.
There we go. Okay, calling you right now. Hey, Jimmy. Yeah, this is my number. Oh, I'd be happy to. Okay. Okay. Sounds like a plan. Be happy to. Okie doke. Thank you very much. You take care. Glad things are going okay for you over there. Okay, he's going to send that number to the gentleman and make sure he's got the right number and such. One cabin. Due to rats chewing. Okay, Resort Dog, they make something for that now. It's called an arc fault interrupter. Okay. And so that will pretty much eliminate that problem. It's like a standard circuit breaker, but it specifically detects that kind of short circuit arc and shuts it down under those circumstances. Shane would like to send us some pictures. So you want to type in our email address, little one?
Trying to
I can always type it myself.
I'm putting spaces in here because sometimes the computer is a pain in the neck. So just take the spaces out to make it an email address. Okay?
Yeah, I can understand that, Jeff. Lauren last year had a rat mess something up, or either that it was the wind that blew out the pilot light, maybe on his refrigerator, and it messed up some steaks, some nice steaks he was planning on cooking for us. But oh well, such is life. Oh yeah, Jimmy said that guy was he was talking to him earlier today, and that guy's still interested in talking. So, well, hopefully get a hold of dude. Yep. I don't know. When we came back from the winter out to the uh, lab, something had chewed its way into the rodent bait and ate most of the rodent bait. And we're talking a tub. um, I don't know if it was really tough or it was just getting high. Not sure. It ate a crap load of bait. Bobcats love feral cats. Yeah, why not? It's food. Uh, Critters don't have morals, they just have needs. Oh, mongooses. Ooh, there you go. That's not bad. Some snakes are pretty cool too. We just found out there's a snake up here called the northern rubber
northern
boa.
rubber boa.
They actually go up into Alberta. Weird. I mean, they're the most northern snake on the planet, is what we heard. It's like, wow, how bizarre. I wouldn't have thought to see a boa up here. I think of those as like Central America, stuff like that. I've caught a rosy boa once in Sonora, Mexico, south of the United States. Um, it was a situation where I could not keep it because I couldn't keep it in a reasonable temperature, summertime. So I just let it go. But I mean, it was a pretty little snake. Yeah, it's definitely precipitating the crap out of something.
Wow, there's a lot of precipitates in there for what was
So adding hydrochloric acid to
neutralizing
Goldex
the Goldex. We don't know what the pH is
definitely
on that,
creates a precipitate of some sort. I'm presuming that's a mixed metallic precipitate, but I
would
have
think
no
so.
idea. Um, I presume it destroys the Eco Goldex, so that would be an expense. And then you would have to see what those various constituents of that are as to whether or not it would be something simple to refine from that point on or not. I don't know. That was interesting. Thank you for the suggestion. Because, hey, the sodium chloride didn't do it, but boy, the hydrochloric acid sure did.
Yeah, that was something else right there.
Well, oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, if it photodissociates.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, can't really tell in this light, but hey,
Yeah,
you
it's
never know.
pretty turbid still. It'd be interesting to see what it is. No, it's not going to make tellurides. If it didn't have tellurium in it, you wouldn't have it. As I say, tellurides are pretty odd. I just added hydrochloric acid. We don't have any tellurium in any of those that I'm aware of, no significant amounts. So hard to tell what precipitated out. I presume chlorides, but I do not know. Interesting question. If one had a high enough concentration of gold and or silver in there, and not much else that was going to precipitate out. Oh, okay. But okay, he supposedly sent a picture here, so let's wait a minute, and then you click on the email there.
All right.
Whenever's an appropriate time. What did that solution have in it? That was running about 15 parts per million silver, and the same with gold. Actually, I think a little less with gold with that stuff there.
And we don't know about what else.
Oh, no, we have a good idea what else is in it. That was a multi-element analysis.
Oh, okay. Well, then it might have precipitated everything.
That's a good question. You want to hand me that folder again? Where went? No, I didn't put it down.
Trying to fix the problem.
Well, let's see here. Cons below gold line, that's right here. It had, and I quote, 0.18 parts per million arsenic, 15.0 parts per million silver, 0.33 parts per million aluminum, 0.01 parts per million barium, 0.001 parts per million beryllium, 0.004 parts per million cadmium, 0.17 parts per million cobalt, 0.03 parts per million chromium. Now here's something interesting. 163 parts per million copper. Iron, 11.2 parts per million. Manganese, 0.25. Molybdenum, 1.47. Nickel, 0.78. Lead, 0.26. Antimony, 24. Selenium, 6.9. Zinc, 1.1. Gold, 6.23. So while there might be a significant amount of antimony in there, the only other things that come to mind are the iron and the copper and the silver, possibly the gold. I mean, if I'm using the 6 parts per million gold, selenium just beats that, antimony's 4 times that, iron is twice that, copper is 30 times that, and silver is 3 times that. So I'm guessing color-wise it looks a lot like iron. Copper chloride I think would be highly soluble. Not sure about iron chloride.
Well, the fact that it turned purple,
That could have been gold.
Copper usually turns blue.
You have the whole periodic chart. Well, not all of it, but yeah. And
So
that was a multi-element
theory,
analysis.
If we added up all the parts per million, we would know how many solids at most get out of it, right?
Yeah, you could. Say what I would do if I was really curious about it, I would decant this and then probably split it in two and rinse one with hot water and the other one just leave as is, then send it off to the lab and he could digest it in nitric acid or something and run a multi-element analysis on it again. Okay. New 49ers, huh? It gets darker in sunlight. Yeah, it would, silver chloride would. But we shall see. I'm going to let it precipitate and settle all the way down. Then I'll probably decant and wash it with just plain water. And then see what we wind up with. Interesting. That's why I do these little experiments. I have no idea what it is. I presume it's not.
Yeah, we're assuming.
Doesn't seem to be outgassing anything. I think it's relatively safe as long as I don't drink it. Yeah, Resort Dog. When it really roars, it moves everything. No dredging. Well, that's no fun. Goodness gracious. I did a little check for someone in our state for recreational dredging, which requires a permit. Don't know how hard it is to get. First of all, the dredge cannot be any more than a 4-inch nozzle. And the visible turbidity in the water cannot extend more than 10 stream widths downstream. So if your stream was 20 feet across, no more than 100 feet downstream.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. There's, I'm sorry, that'd be 200. 10 stream width. The visible turbidity, in other words, the muddiness in the water.
The muddiness in the water.
Cannot extend more than 10 stream widths downstream. So if you had a 20-foot stream, it could go no more than 200 feet downstream.
So if we had our own stream and it was a patented,
even if it's unpatented, okay.
Even the one we're looking at.
Yes.
If we measure the stream and it's 5 feet wide,
okay, that was more. Okay.
The water has to be clear by the time it's gone 50.
Yes.
It's
visually clear. Yeah, you can't see it. Yep. So say this, do it in flood conditions, and that's not a bad idea, Resort Dog. This is wait till it's, the stream's already turbid. Not a bad idea.
Resort Dog says, I resisted typing gloves, goggles.
Yeah. So, anyhow, to repeat, say in this state, nozzle no more than 4 inches in diameter for a recreational dredging permit. Okay. No more than 4 inches in diameter, and the visual turbidity cannot extend more than 10 stream widths downstream. Okay. You could possibly do that. I was thinking of digging a hole to the side of the stream because this is private property we're looking at. the guy was asking us. So you dig a hole in the side, and then you just dump your tailings. I mean, just set your dredge up on the bank, so it's like a high banker, and use your suction nozzle because it's only 4 feet or something up into the dredge, and have that go into a little pond there, and then that will filter it before it gets back to the river. So, say there's possible ways. Now we were asking about setting up a wash plant along the side of the creek, and he said that would. All I know is I just checked, and they said 4 inch. Now it might be 5 inch nozzle might qualify under a different permit. Okay. I was asking specifically about recreational dredging. Okay. But if we wanted to set up a wash plant on private ground, that was going to take a small minor exclusion statement, which is just that. It's a statement.
Yeah.
And a bond. Okay. So, that depend on the amount of the bond, but if it wasn't too much, it wouldn't be too bad. And again, my thought was there is if you use an excavator or something to dig a settling pond, and then as your wash plant dumps into the settling pond, then you can move the material out of that and stockpile it somewhere and just keep using it so the water runs in from the creek underground to the settling pond, and then you pump from there to your wash plant and let it come back down, or something to that effect. But I'd have to do more research to have a good idea. But I did do some preliminary research on that here, and that was kind of interesting. So, we'll see what happens on that. That was it was a low motivation project. The person was like, just kind of, yeah.
Well, when
I was kind of curious, sort of thing there. It could be, David. I do not know. This is Montana, and I'm not sure what the specific rules are there. I know that you can't just dump into the uh, water. But I did like the idea. Yeah, if you wait till springtime where it's kind of flooding and a little turbid, that would make it a lot harder to see your stuff. That's true. Uh, you got all kinds of games you got to play sometimes to do something. Oh,
speaking of that,
but
I was curious how to strip the metal and neutralize the iron acidic mine drain. Yeah. The super
what
acidic
kind
mine.
of metal are you looking for? Neutralize the iron.
Yeah, because the super acidic mine drainage, what the big guys have been doing with it is you get it in pools and neutralize it with, I believe they're actually using lime, or they're actually pumping it through in situ limestone. And as it comes up to neutral, it drops out as, what are those? Hydroxides or
Carbon.
carbonates.
Yeah.
It precipitates out at different levels.
Well, depending upon what you want to do, I know one copper mine. I was a major copper producer, and they had that acid mine drainage, and they just took it was just scrap iron, and it was like baling wire or something like that. But I mean, they just had tons of this stuff, and just let the mine water go through it, and it would precipitate the copper on it. I have no idea, Jean Francois. I say it was very, very preliminary. He was just kind of asking me, could I do this? And if so, what would I have to do? So that was it. He wasn't really that terribly interested. He's got a lot of other stuff on his plate.
Yeah.
But he was curious.
Huh.
You know?
I mean, given the particular material on that location, the other stuff that comes out of it, landscape thing.
Yeah, he was looking at maybe setting it up as a wash plant as part of a standard sand and gravel sort of operation, small sand and gravel, because he had use for the aggregate himself.
Yeah.
He wanted gravel and this and that and the other, and so he was looking at processing it for his own use.
Yeah, basically just washing it to get the gold off.
In this particular case, he does have what clearly appears to be bedrock on the bank right above this one spot. And so it's entirely possible that right at that spot, the gravels are fairly shallow, as in only a few feet, like 2 or 3. But it's hard to tell. I'm going to take a short break here. New Malone is paid for his.
Yeah, don't mind me. I'm in the process of putting up with something. No. The heat hasn't triggered for some time. I'm saying it's not getting warmer. They're discussing a place where there's a whole lot of stuff. A lot of gold between the two powerhouses in the closed area.
Oh.
On a gravel bar.
Well, that sucks.
The Gold King mine, huh? I helped demo the old Maloney's PH copper.
It's copper per month, huh?
I don't mind it.
I don't know. What was that mine near the Four Corners region where the government was going to remediate it or something and instead created a toxic flood?
Well, what else? We got a couple of remediation scandals.
Yep.
We have that one idiot, the Montana tunnel. But then we've got the one that's up there by Fort Belknap. Well, anyways, really.
Whatever.
Belknap. That one.
The Gold King, was that it? Yeah.
I swear they ought to let us fix these things. If they let us fix these things, we should remediate them.
You could make money at it, yep. Dumped into 3 states, yep. I was actually working at the United Nuclear Church Rock mine when our tailings dam broke. And that sent a lot of stuff down the, I don't know what river that was. River, it was just basically a creek, but it was one of those channels that has vertical banks, and it was probably 50 feet wide, something like that. Yep. Blowout that wiped out a canyon. I'm not familiar with that one, although I know there was one like the Philippines or something where they were drilling and created a mud volcano. Yeah, that was Navajos at the um, Church Rock mine there. Yeah, hopefully it'll become easier. Oh, you want to check his thing or do?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Yeah. Hold on a second. She forgot about it. She's trying to do other stuff. I'm not sure why she does that, but nevertheless.
Because I'm checking on the things that I'm supposed to be getting paid for to make sure I'm getting all my money.
Well, I understand that, but you've been here all day.
Back. Okay.
She's gonna try and put this on the screen for everybody. She's working on it.
I have to download the first. Just keep talking to everybody.
So it's electrons and stuff like that. I'm not sure what's happening, but she's working on it. Oh, ouch. Oh, anywho.
Good grief.
Electrons. I only have the vaguest idea of them. Oh,
Rock.
doing this, doing that, doing the other. Not simple.
Never.
No, we're starting to get some clarity here.
Yeah, right now I'm
Still working on things happen. Just not visible.
yeah, and he's not visible to you guys right now. Don't
Really?
texting anything. Actually want him to like
I can't see
can't see
chat.
crap right.
I can't see.
Well, yeah, that's a given. Oh,
Doing first select. Clicking. She's trying to find that ain't it. Really? There's the one I was. Yeah.
okay, give me a second, folks, and I'll get this up where you can see it. Get back to my throat.
These things are kind of hard to
Don't touch.
evaluate. I'm not touching anything. Evaluate visually.
This is what Shane sent us. Look at that, pretty.
A lot of quartz in there. Quartz or calcite.
Pretty pyrites.
Uh,
That's the second picture right there. If you see
some things like that right there.
this right here,
Is that the gold you're talking about, Shane? Pretty mineralized.
pretty stuff.
Yeah.
This is the first thing like not being as pretty. Nice little vein here.
Yeah.
Pretty vein. This one's a nice vein. Here.
Yeah, it really is hard to evaluate these things by a picture as opposed to visually when you're actually looking at through a microscope.
You gotta hold the rock in your.
I do. Yeah, those look interesting, all right.
They are some pretty looking rocks. Oh, darn. That's a nice looking rock. Anyway, that is Shane's newest rock. And yeah, looks roundy and goldy. Very pretty stuff. I am happy with that. Good looking stuff.
Roundy and goldy.
Okay.
That technical terminology.
Back to that, wish I had an X-ray gun and a small crusher.
Well, for gold, the X-ray gun is of limited usefulness, but the small crusher comes in real handy. Although, of the two, a pulverizer is more useful than a crusher because you can take a hammer and a piece of steel and reduce things down to half an inch fairly effectively. But pulverizing it down to a powder, yeah, that really is labor intensive. Just ridiculous. So if I had to get one or the other, I'd get the pulverizer, no doubt. You know, like a little K&M crusher or something like that. Thank you, Shane. Appreciate it.
Yeah, very pretty pictures.
So,
good looking rocks there.
Anyone else got any questions or anything at this point? Yeah, a little chainmail works good for that. Honey Bunny's losing sound. I hope you're not losing hearing. I hope it's just the sound, Honey Bunny.
It shouldn't be our sound. Nothing's changed on the sound.
Nothing's changed here. Yep. So am I, huh? People are losing sound? What the heck?
No idea, people. Nothing has changed here.
She says that nothing's showing differently on her displays and such. I have no clue.
Yeah, I've got no dropped frames. I got nothing.
Everything she can see is looking good over here. Are we still having problems with sound?
I'm not surprised silver mining stocks are up. Silver is doing real well at the moment.
When Eva speaks softly, a chipmunk's on her. Well.
It's perfectly fine. I'm not talking.
People cook quartz with specimen gold and lye. Is the product sodium silicate? I believe so, yes. So, to dissolve the quartz and leave the gold.
Oh, I thought that was for
hydrofluoric acid. You can do it with hydrofluoric acid, but I think you can do it with lye also. I presume less than, right around boiling. I don't think it has to be under pressure. I've never tried it myself. I haven't studied phenomena. That might not be a bad idea. What kind of cool, Shane. Does anyone know what the temperature are for the lye treatment, where you're dissolving the quartz, and what kind of container do you need?
Not aluminum.
Contain the not aluminum. To contain the lye while you're doing that. Will glass work, or do you need cast iron. Any idea? What are the parameters, honey bunny?
Combo acid was nitric and sulfuric to dissolve mother lode quartz. I remember. And
Haven't heard that one, Resort Dog. Anyone else got any information on that? Yeah, I got I keep having that feeling too myself, Resort Dog. So what are the parameters with the lye and the quartz, honey bunny? How much? I mean, is it like saturated solution and boiling, or what's the dealio? Any idea?
Resort Dog said 55 years ago.
Let's see. Wondering hydroxide ion. Not terribly unusual in nature. Wonder if that's important in the geothermal solution.
Wage Slave says stainless steel pot.
Okay.
Teflon, polyethylene, nylon. Consult a plastics chemical resistance chart, according to Jean-Francois.
Yeah, but any of those can handle the heat required.
There's videos on YouTube about it. Wage Slave, don't trust everything you see on YouTube.
I'm sure there are. I just haven't looked at any right now. I'm just curious.
You've never had any specimen gold to work with.
Yeah.
Don't I wish?
Well, it looks like red dog, not red dog. Here's not red dog.
Red Wing.
Red Wing, that's it. Right. Yeah. Red Wing had some. He was getting some pretty flaky stuff there from the ball mill. Yeah, a K&M is not bad for small batches. Well, according to Honey Bunny, 1200 degree F. So, yeah, serious pressure cooker thingy. Yeah, less extreme conditions, but yeah, hydrofluoric is some nasty stuff I've heard. Never dealt with it. Haven't really had the urge to. Sure, it's pretty nasty stuff. 1200, huh? Yeah, there's pressure cooker by. That's a serious pressure cooker there.
That's a pressure vessel.
Oh.
I don't think that's in the same category as standard.
No, it's not a standard pressure cooker.
Just saying.
Yeah. 1200 degrees. I wonder what pressure you'd need to hold water at 1200 degrees.
Now it's back, but it was so skittish, like it was fading in and out. Well,
thank you, Honey Bunny.
If you could email that link to us, Honey Bunny, it would be great.
Yeah, hydrofluoric is nasty stuff. Anyhow. Any other questions, suggestions, subjects, or anything like that? I'm trying to get some real exciting stuff going on, but it's just, kind of luck of the draw. You can't just make, well, you can't make the right thing happen, but you can increase your odds of it happening by, diligent work. Hopefully, Jimmy will get that guy the phone number and he'll call up in the next day or two, and then we can come up with some interesting stuff. Not that critical at the moment, honey bunny, but if you want to, please do. I can always put a link to it. Save that link. Oh. Any other subjects or questions, anybody? Hopefully within a month or so, Brian, I'll be starting work on the thiosulfate type leach. See what happens. You healing up okay, resort dog? Cannot hold water at 1200 degrees. It's above the triple point, huh? Well, it wouldn't be liquid then. Is there any reason you can't hold steam at 1200 degrees, Jean-Francois? Yeah. Yeah. Not getting any liquid water at that temperature, huh? Okay. Oh, Vogus, huh? Okay. I can check with that. I wonder where he came up with that name. You can chemically dry opal. What is the benefit of drying the opal, resort dog? Yeah, that would make sense, honey bunny. Okay, Jean-Francois. Oh. Anyhow, I'm getting kind of tired. Oh. That's an interesting subject. I'll have to look at that. 3000 psi reactor vessel, huh? Okay. That's serious. There goes another bless, Eva.
Thanks, David.
Uh,
You notice he doesn't even say that.
Well, I was never taught to do that. I guess it comes from the Middle Ages where they thought when you sneezed, your soul left your body for a second or
Oh,
something.
I have no idea, but I always say bless you when. Yeah.
To kind of stabilize it, huh, resort dog? Well, I'm sad about that, honey bunny. Oh. Well, if nobody's got anything new here, I think I'm going to call it a night and get some rest. Oh. Got to get back to my cardiotherapy tomorrow. Your heart stops for a second. Huh. Cool, resort dog. That'd be kind of cool to go to an opal mine sometime.
Yeah, I certainly would. I've always wanted to go to an opal mine. I've always wanted to go to any gemstone mine. You know that. I wanted to go to that one down in Nevada that we saw the video about.
Yeah. Thank you, Jeff. Why don't you go ahead and post, Honey Bunny? And if you want to see some fun bunny stuff, the was it Carrot Cottage?
Carrot Cottage Rabbit Rescue.
It's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, there was one we saw a video on an opal mine down in Nevada, I believe it was, or in Utah anyway, where, it was a lot like the sapphire mine here in the sense you were basically digging in the walls of, like, I don't know, some ancient riverbed or who the hell knows what, but they were finding beautiful pieces of, like, opalized wood and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, opalized petrified wood.
Yeah, and actual opal. But yeah, I love gemstones. I
Yeah.
much prefer gemstones and silver.
I like to move dirt. Night all, Jean-Francois. Thanks to Quebec National Day fireworks. Oh.
Enjoy! St. John the Baptist Day.
Oh. 24th of June.
Wow, that's cool, Resort Dog.
Yeah.
I would love to do some opal mining. We gotta visit you one of these days. Anyway, everybody, we're gonna get ready to get going here.
Okay.
So if Honey Bunny wants to post.
Yep. Thank you, David, for showing up.
Thank you, everybody, for showing up, and we will see you next week.
Yep.
Same bat time, same bat channel. Good night.
Good night, all.
Happy prospecting and keep it safe out there.
There you go. Well, just have to call it a night.